Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
Yes, welcome to episode 61. How are you doing, everybody?
It's 71.
Wait, what did I say?
You said 61. God. So, a few things to address right off the bat. First thing, we're not just dirtballs. I mean, even if we are dirtballs, we're not wearing the same clothes on purpose. We are recording this right after recording episode 70. Jim will be on vacation. It's after the 4th of July. So
wanted to make sure we had an episode. Wanted to make sure we had content for you people.
We wanted to bank it. So Jim has already drank 2 beers. And as we've discussed, Jim's tolerance isn't that great, even though he drinks a lot. So, expect a lot of errors in speech for this episode. I'll apologize in advance.
Expect a slurry, sloppy Jim.
Yeah, so Jim, now that you've gone through the 2 beers from the previous podcast, what are you drinking for this one?
All right, so for this episode, to start off, I'm having the Hanalei Island IPA by Kona. And let's see here. Island IPA, the subtle bitterness of hops is balanced by passion fruit, orange, and guava. Easy does it. And speaking of easy, comes in at a smooth, extremely drinkable 4.5% alcohol by volume. And I'll be following that up with a Magic Hat number. Wow, this is really going well already. Fucking 2 beers. And I am a mess. Jesus Christ. The Magic Hat number 6 double IPA. Oh wait, no, it is a Magic Hat. It's by the Evolution Craft Brewing Company.
Oh my God, Jim!
This is a
This
banner
is getting
episode.
painful to listen to.
This is a banner episode right here. 8.5% alcohol by volume, 75 IBUs, and yeah, it's part of that Independent Craft Beer Association, which distanced itself from those Illinois people who said Corona was a hoax and BLM doesn't matter. So, so yeah, these are the good ones, I guess.
All right, so let me just first by saying I hope everyone had a happy 4th of July.
Yep.
I'm going opposite, Jim. I'm actually increasing my alcohol. So last podcast, I finished off 2 of the Greenfell Meaderies Nordic Farmhouse. Now moving on to the Havoc Meaderies, and these ones are a little bit stronger. The first one is the Root of All Evil. It's a ginger mead at 6.9%. And the second one will be a Hop Swarm, which is a dry hop mead at 6.9%. So the Hop Swarm is actually, that is the perfect bridge. Jim asked me this last podcast. This is a bridge for those of you who are craft beer aficionados, or you just like craft beer and like hops, because it has a hop flavor. The one I'm drinking now, oh man, if you like ginger, you'll really like this. See, I do like ginger a lot, but it's kind of powerful. Like, you don't taste honey much, you taste ginger, and they have some lemon juice in it. So it's an odd flavor for a beer, and it's probably not the smartest shit that I'm mixing with everything I've been drinking. But either way, that's what I'm following up with. And as far as what are we playing, unfortunately, because this is just a follow-up, we'll just say, hey, go check out episode 70 if you haven't already. Haven't played anything in the past 5 minutes since the last episode.
Yeah, I didn't even turn on Clash of Clans. I got nothing. Maybe I'll talk about whatever I bring down vacation with me. So, in episode 72.
Don't worry, Jim will still be tweeting his ass off.
At a less point, at a much less rate.
Not that much less.
No, the cell phone signal sucks where I'm going. So.
So it's just like your house. Like your internet sucks. Oh, poor joke.
Damn it.
I'm just kidding.
But seriously, poor is mad.
Jim, it's not even a poor thing. It's just you have terrible quality.
It's
and
not terrible.
Choosing who your internet who your internet provider is.
What do you have? What are you, Comcast?
Yeah. And you know what? Everyone was amazed when I was downloading my stuff and I was doing it at 250 megs per second. They're like, man, you must be paying a bunch. And I told them what I was paying. They're like, okay, you're paying the same as me. Why is your internet better? Pretty interesting, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah, fuck Ed Snyder.
Just because you have T-Mobile, it's fine.
God damn it, I have Verizon. Fuck. Jesus. Just because I had T-Mobile back in the day. Man, that shit sucked. Oops, I went to the mountains or the beach. Guess I'm not talking on my phone for a couple days. Oh, good. Oh, let's pair up with Sprint. That'll save us.
But you were one of the guys. You're like, oh, I'll go Sprint Mobile.
Sigh. Lay sigh. But moving on, as we always do, straight into the Patreon questions, where at www.patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 measly per month, you can ask a question that we will answer on each and every Power Hour podcast.
Yeah, once again, we truly, truly appreciate everyone. If you follow us on Patreon, if you support us, thank you so much. If you would like to support us, please do. Jim has laid out all the tiers, and it really just helps us buy more beer, buy more games. We want to cater to you guys who help support us the most, and once again, we can't thank you enough. Truly appreciate it.
Exactly. So, first up, as always from Game Whisperer Dean, he's very good about being the first one there for when we post. He must have notifications on. The new Crash Bandicoot is available for pre-order on PS4, but wasn't it the PS5 showreel? Should I wait to enjoy it on the PS5 or play it on PS4 this October?
Ooh. All right, so I've given Jim plenty of shit about this because he was the...
I don't watch trailers, guy.
No, I mean, you were the asshole who decided when the Switch was pending.
Asshole?
Just hear me out. The Switch was known, it was pending, and you decided to secondhand buy a Wii U, and at what you thought was a quote-unquote, and I'm doing the air quotes, Jim, good
no.
price.
It was.
It wasn't. And you decided, of all games, which everyone knew it was the Switch game that was a seller, even though it came on a Wii U, you played Breath of the Wild. Did you even end up getting that on the Switch?
No.
Okay. So you got that for the worst system. And it's like, it's fine it came out for the previous gen. It's kind of like, was it,
Twilight Princess came out on the GameCube and
I'm
Wii.
not talking about that. Did GTA 5 come out on the 360?
Yeah, it came out that gen first, and then they ported it to the next one.
So that's one of those where it obviously, like, just don't get the previous gen if you know you're going to have a long-term game. Now, Crash Bandicoot, here's the deal. Are those graphics, is the sound, is any of it going to be supported that much longer than the life of what PS4 can offer? Probably not. So if you're going bigger, more open world games, like a Breath of the Wild, like GTA 5, like all that shit, then for sure, do yourself a favor, just wait. But if it's Crash Bandicoot, I don't know what else PS5 is going to offer.
Bandicoot?
If you're diehard, get it now. Otherwise, I always say just wait, especially if you're someone who knows you're going to get the system. Like Jim, he's not going to be allowed to get the PS5. He doesn't have PS4. So, he's never going to get to play it. But if you're
I will get the
there,
PS5. I'll get that version. Because PS5 can play PS4, so I'll get
You'll
that.
wait till the PS6 is out, and you'll be like, God, you got the PS5. Look at these charming games. You fuck.
Hey, look, I got Little Big Planet 3. Or 7.
Yeah,
or
you're like,
out at that point.
It's reverse compatible with Puppeteer. You
Oh, God, in a perfect world. In a perfect world.
But yeah, no, like, that's a game that I think is fine. But like I said, Call of Duties, any open world games, any shooters, anything that has continued support, and it's going to bleed into that life of the newer console and you're going to get it, just do yourself a favor. Just wait. Like, don't double spend. Because eventually the support will go out on the PS4. But I think you're fine with Crash Bandicoot.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I would wait till the PS5. I don't have any choice, but yeah. I mean, yeah, if you have a PS4 right now, you might as well, because like Brian says, what big difference are they going to make? All right, next up from Alex Perez. Don't give any attention to this if it has been asked before, but Brian, as a fan of the Resident Evil series, What is your take on the Mila Jovovich starring Resident Evil film series? We have not covered this.
No, never covered this. At first, it really pissed me off because just from the first movie, you realized they have elements of the Resident Evil games, but they were making it its own thing. And I'm fine with her. 1, she's a good actress. 2, she's pretty damn good looking. And 3, I like that they just said, here's this new character, here's a story around her, because they probably realized they weren't going to do it justice, because they really just wanted to make action movies. They weren't making a horror movie. So ultimately, that franchise went on to be pretty damn successful and make way more sequels than I thought it was going to. I still yearn for a day when they do a legit horror movie or show or something for Resident Evil. Like, I know they're for a while, and I don't know if they're still talking about they were going to do a Netflix for the original Resident Evil. I'm fine with that. Do a movie, do a show through Netflix. For star power, it made sense to choose her, and I've always I've loved her since Fifth Element, so I have no problem with her.
Yeah, I watched the first movie. I mean, if you're going to watch a Mila Jovovich movie, there's about a 75% chance she'll be naked at some point, which is always a plus. And she wasn't the first one. And I only saw the first 3 Resident Evil movies, but you know what? They're dumb, yes. But are they fun? Yeah. They're fun, stupid action movies. So I actually remember, I think I saw the second and third ones in theaters, and the whole crowd was just having a blast the whole time. So for the ones I saw, I liked the series. The first one still took itself a little too seriously, and then the second and third were like, all right, we're dumb, but here you go. This is going to be a fun one. And the ones after looked really dumb, but like I said, I didn't see them. So, but yeah, I think they're okay. They're fine. They're good popcorn watch movies.
And I've seen them all, and you know what? I equate them. So, like, Jim, you and I grew up 80s, 90s, and we had our action stars. We had our action movies. They were always the same old faces. I feel like for this generation, like, Resident Evil is an action series with horror elements.
Right.
And for a while there, that's exactly what they were. Popcorn movies. They were goofy, over the top. Oh, look, they threw in this character from the game eventually. They were absolutely like, I'm not going to say the acting deserved, any accolades, or they stuck to story very well, but just like Fast and the Furious, like how many movies about what started off as a fucking drag racing movie has now turned into they take on the world and like they're spies, like
they take on the terrorist organization in tanks out of a plane fall and shit like that.
Yeah, like that's what they're there for. So I'm fine with her as the lead in that because she's a damn fine actress and she can do it. So yeah, I'm really cool with that, and it definitely was never asked. So thank you, Alex. We really appreciate that.
Yep, doesn't hurt when you're the wife of the director of the series either. And if they keep making money, they keep making them.
I don't know how he pulled that, but that's another conversation.
Next up, from G to the next level. Actually, I want to give a quick shout out to G because he sent me a couple Tutakus, which are it's like the GameStop version of Amiibos, but they don't really do anything, but they look cool. Sent me a couple Yu-Gi-Oh ones that I never saw up here. So thank you very much, G.
That's awesome. Thanks, bud.
And actually, another shout out to former guest of the show, to Blade Blur, because he recently announced that he's actually part of the crew that's working on the new Crash Bandicoot game. So
shit.
Yeah, he's doing QA for them. So congrats,
awesome.
bud. That's awesome for you. Because before we went on with him, he was like, yeah, I'm doing this thing that's like kind of in the industry, but I can't talk about it right now. And we're like, oh, cool. So there we go.
Yeah, and unfortunately, as we said, who knows what's going to happen with too many games where we got to hang out with them last year. I think they're being rescheduled, but who knows?
Yeah,
either way.
Right now it's rescheduled
really
to the end of September, but with the way these numbers are looking... People don't want to wear their goddamn masks, so who's going to be surprised when lockdown happens again? Am I right?
There's goddamn gyms out there, so...
How dare you, sir. But anyway, circling back to G. Do either of you have a pricey collector's edition of a game that you had to have, but knew it was too pricey or would take up too much space? Cheers. Good question.
Jim, I know you will have something there. For me... man, like I said, The most expensive thing I've spent on games are usually literally a brand new game. Like I've spent.
Well, actually, I thought I would have your answer for you.
Well, the most I spent on something was $40 on the Castlevania 4, which I had signed by James Rolfe when we were at Too Many Games.
But he's talking about like the collector's editions that come out. Like, I think for you it would be like when you bought the Night Vision version of whatever Call of Duty that was.
Oh, okay. No, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, the only collector's editions I ever did buy have been Call of Duty games, and since Modern Warfare 2, I tend to not always go for the most expensive, but usually mid-tier. But back then, I got the night vision goggles, which I can actually show you right here. And you know what? Say what you want. These fucking things work. In the dark, me and my buddy Juan got these, and we went out back, and I actually turned these on a while ago because I found it in my attic. They still goddamn work. You can see in the dark, legit night vision goggles. Now, they're not obviously professional military grade, but I don't even know how much that collector's edition.
I want to say it was like 150-ish, maybe.
Yeah, at least.
Because they had the RC car, they had the Juggernog, which we both wish we could have gotten, but we didn't.
The Juggernog is the one.
That's the one that got away. That's the one that got away. Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm the hardest fucking Call of Duty Zombies fan, and the Juggernog little fridge, I didn't get because I stopped getting those special editions.
Yep.
The RC car, Juan got that, and it had the little camera on it, and I remember he said like it was cool, but the camera didn't last that long. So the night vision goggles, yeah, most expensive. It's just a cool, like, if I'm going to get a collector's edition and pay money, I want something more than artwork. I want something more than, wasn't it a Mortal Kombat, the thing you have, like the book ends?
Yeah, you know what? I fucked up with that one because I wanted to get the one that came with the arcade stick. But I guess I said the wrong one when I was pre-ordering it, so I wound up with the one with the bookends. And the bookends are like, they're cool, they look cool, but they're bookends. So
they're bookends, yeah.
There's not a lot you can do with them. I didn't even save that box. I actually threw that box out, which I never do.
I feel like the only thing that could get me to get more collectors is if it is something cool, like wasn't the one Resident Evil 4 like a chainsaw controller that came with it? So yeah, if it's something really unique to that effect, I'd consider it. But honestly, it would have to be a Resident Evil at this point. Call of Duty isn't going to get me back in there with anything. Yeah, it'd have to be Resident Evil, maybe Fallout, if they did like a Nuka-Cola thing or something kind of cool like that. But yeah, how about you, Jim?
I see. It's weird because like a lot of the ones that are like bigger size-wise that I have, like I either didn't pay full price for or they're given to me. So like I have Arkham City with the Batman statue, but that was a gift from my wife, girlfriend at the time, for birthday. I have the Tekken 6 bundle that came with this stick in the art book, but I got that like 3 years later for like $50. Like that was just a good deal, so I didn't pay too much for it. I have the Stick of Truth that it's a collector's edition. It came with the Cartman figure, but I only paid like $30 for that because it was after the fact. And that was back when I still bought those because eventually I was like, I never use this extra shit. So it will probably be like the Call of Duty Ghosts Hardened Edition that comes with like a coin and like that I mainly got just for the season pass. It comes with them, but like any Call of Duty Hardened Edition, it comes with like a little something extra. Which one of them came with like the flask that you couldn't even use? I don't know if I have that one or not. Because I have like I have the Ghost Hardened. I have the Ghost Hardened Edition. I have the Black Ops 2 or 3 Hardened Edition. I think 2. Black Ops 2. But yeah, those come with like little extras like coins and like the useless flask. So that just kind of takes up space on my shelf, even though the accoutrement that came with them are basically useless outside digital codes. So I would go with one of those. Hardened editions were always like, oh, you pay an extra $30 for little pieces of junk, but you get the season pass.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here's the question to you, and I'm not counting indie games or games that aren't full price.
Right.
What was the last brand new, and I know you do Call of Duty with us, but
right.
Outside of Call of Duty, what was the last brand new game you bought?
Unless it's like those weird random ones from limited run games, which they're like
Which I don't count those.
right, yeah, they're like their own thing. I don't know. It might have just been Call of Duty, or I mean, maybe Streets of Rage 4 digital when it first came out. That's
But
probably
that's
the
what
last
I'm
one.
saying. Even that, not a full price.
But like a
game.
full price $60 game, dude. I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you. It's probably Call of Duty from last year that I barely
Yeah.
touched. I basically at this point where I'm at the point in my life where I'm paying $60 for my night to weekend with my friends that I can just keep playing, and then after that, like, I barely touch it. But I got my money's worth for me in that first couple of days
Jim's not allowed.
of just being left alone.
You're just not allowed. It's all right, Jim. We
Look,
all have
I
our
could game
struggles.
more, but I got to get sleep. I'm a sleepy boy.
I don't want to hear it. You have plenty of time. You can do it. You ain't allowed. It's fine.
But then I'm working through the site or going through my massive backlog. I don't know. Things happen, right? Things happen.
Or you're still trying to do Tetris for the past 7 years, and you still can't do as good as me.
Shenanigans.
Just tell me, where's the lie?
Shenanigans.
Where's the lie?
Bryce, we said
Change-
in episode 70, which you can see, on the sidebar, you didn't play
Change
enough
my
Japanese
mind.
people.
Change my
Shenanigans. All right, next
mind.
up
No,
from
great question. Thanks, G.
Yep, that's a great one, G. Next up from Eric Lewacki. Have either of you checked out Mortal Kombat Aftermath? Any thoughts on it, even if you didn't? Shit, I've heard of it,
that
but I
again?
don't. What the fuck? What is that? Is that the mobile one or is that the TV show?
Right, if it's
fuck,
a
what is
TV
that?
show, was it the one on YouTube? Hold on.
I'm looking. Something with a release date. Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath expansion. Maybe he means the recent expansion. Is that the one with RoboCop?
Oh, it is the expansion. No, I've played through all of MK11, the original. I didn't get any expansions. I didn't get any DLC. Dude, I'll say right now, the two games franchises that always offer you the best DLCs are Call of Duty and Mortal Kombat. Call of Duty, you get maps, you get this, you get that. But Mortal Kombat, they not only give you new characters,
A new story.
but they always tie in. Like, these franchises are out of this world. Like Mortal Kombat 10, throwing in the Xenomorph, throwing in Jason Voorhees, Leatherface. Like, these people, you're like, what the fuck? And then 11 does Terminator, does RoboCop.
Yeah, Aftermath comes with an all-new cinematic story, which I think the first DLC pack did too, which is awesome. Shiva, Fujin, and RoboCop, and 3 skin packs, as well as some other more skin packs if you buy the combat pack too.
Yeah,
The combat pack comes with Shang Tsung, Terminator, Nightwolf, Sindel, the Joker, and Spawn. Like, they just throw... Like, Mortal Kombat, which I love about them, they know they're goofy, and they will throw all the fan service and stuff you want at it.
Yeah, and that's... It's part of the reason why I fought so hardly about saying, I think, unequivocally, Mortal Kombat is the best fighting game franchise because they do fan service for their everyone who loves them. Like, to throw in the group of people Jim just said, taking out the original fighters from previous games, like, tell me who Street Fighter has ever thrown in that wasn't in a previous Street Fighter game. It's non-existent. Tell me about the really cool story Street Fighter ever offered you in a playthrough, whether you like the ending of the game or not. Like, Mortal Kombat offers you the gore, offers you the story, and like the ideal matchup of like, oh dude, could you imagine so and so? And what's amazing is they listen to their fans, because when in Mortal Kombat 10, when they were throwing in all these horror people, people were typing in like, dude, you should get Spawn, you should get Terminator, and they listened. They got the license and they put them in there for this one. So it's kind of like, I don't know how anyone really shits on Mortal Kombat.
We haven't seen like stuff like this since fucking Soul Calibur 2, with just characters thrown in there for the sake of it, for fun.
Exactly. And that's my point. Like, you don't see that enough, and it's not appreciated enough. So yeah, from DLC, I actually I borrowed Mortal Kombat 11 from my local library, beat the whole game played a bunch of online, got a bunch of footage. In the event of me and Jim eventually going through and doing the review for it,
We will.
because it was available. I said I wasn't the jump from 10 to 11 didn't do enough for me. But what would sell me on getting 11 is when I see it on Xbox Live with the full edition with every DLC. Like when it's all grouped together, I will gladly get it because I want to play as Terminator. I want to be RoboCop. I want to be like these crazy ass Spawn, like all this shit. I will gladly pay, and I don't even need it to be super cheap. I'll just pay it and play as it.
Yeah, I haven't played 11 yet, but that'll be when I get it because, like, I didn't get Mortal Kombat 10 myself until they had the XL edition with all the content. So, the RoboCop.
And that was such a great edition. Yeah.
Yes, it was. So, what do you call it? 11. They just came out with Aftermath. Hopefully now, unless they plan on more packs, but hopefully now's when they come out with their baseline. Here, you can buy this in a store with all the content in it version. I'll get it then, because then it'll be really worth it. Plus, with all that story, too.
Yeah. So, haven't done it yet, but thanks, Alex, for the question. Eventually,
Eric, damn it.
Oh, Eric, sorry. We will get that as a review as well, because obviously we went through every other Mortal Kombat game of the main series.
Wait, did you get Shaolin Monks? Did you ever pick that up?
Negative.
God damn it, Brian. Get Shaolin Monks.
Tim, we still need to get through Tiny Tanks.
No, we're gonna get through these, dude. Fucking Donkey Kong 64 is gonna take me fucking forever. But yes, we will get through these games. But in the meantime, because Donkey Kong will take me some time, we can finish off Mortal Kombat. Because I went through fucking Special Forces. I have like 2 levels left in Mythologies.
Don't worry, I'll gladly get Shaolin
Yeah, I'm
Monks.
sure you will. And then I'll get 11 at some point, or borrow yours, and then fucking just be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
But no, great question. Next up, from Gamer Astral. Favorite beer to relax after work? Ooh.
Damn.
Damn.
I don't know if I have one, and here's the deal. I don't generally drink except for the weekends. Like once Friday hits, maybe Thursday night if I'm playing some games, but during the week I don't like if I go to a happy hour, different story. Yeah, I don't really drink, and I'm I'm not one, if you haven't picked up already, I don't do the same thing over and over. Like my whole thing, whether it be movies, video games, beer, I always try something I haven't tried. I do have favorites I could think of, but yeah, I don't have a go-to, like, this is the beer I sit back with and enjoy. If I were to think of one that if I could have stocked in my fridge at all times, oh man. Honestly, I would keep it simple. I do like Lion's Head. Like I actually bought a 12-pack or something the other day. I drank it and I was like, wow, these go down way too easy.
Takes you back.
It took me right back, and I was like, God damn, like for the price point of beer, I still argue that is one of my favorite beers because whole case at 24 or 36, whatever like the cans are, it's still $18, $16. It's ridiculously cheap, and I love the flavor of that beer. So yeah, if I'm just chugging back a bunch, I would keep that stocked in my fridge.
Yeah, I never drink during the week except for either like website recording night, like for the podcast, or if back when we were going to meet up again for reviews when that comes around, or like the weekend if I'm grilling or we're at a family party or some shit like that. So I'm going to go with the beer that anytime I'm at like an Acme or like some store that has a create your own 6-pack section, I always seem to throw a Trogs Dreamweaver into them. Like I'll throw a bunch of stuff I've never had before, but like Dreamweaver is always the one that I like keep going back to as the Old Faithful. So if I was going to have a beer that I would just sit back with, it would be one of them.
Nice.
And yeah, it's a very smooth wheat beer, like 4.8% alcohol, 15 IBUs. It's very approachable for anyone, but it's just got it's an all-around great beer.
No, it's definitely a good beer. But no, that's a great question. And Yeah, even though we're people who run a site, you would think we drink more. It's pretty limited to the weekends at this point.
Yeah, we're also parents, so we can't be drinking all the time. Well, we could, but yeah.
Well, I was gonna say there's plenty of parents that do, Jim.
Yeah, sure are. And last but not least, from Sandy N, what video game do you wish life was more like?
Ooh, that's a damn good question.
Damn.
Oh, well, here's the deal. Ooh. Oh man.
Like, do I want like a strip fighter where sexy
Damn it,
naked women are
Jim!
fighting each other all the time? I got a serious answer. I'm just gonna go with fucking Animal Crossing because it seems like life is just chill there. Everyone's happy.
No, fuck that. I'm
Your
not
big-
paying
your
for
big-
shit with what
Your biggest
what do
your
they pay
biggest
with
worry is
bells
like capitalism, current turnip prices. And bells. That's your biggest
and
worry.
turnips.
Yeah. But besides that, you're just just hanging out fishing all day. You're just chilling, playing with your little farm, decorating your house. It seems nice. Seems relaxing. A throwback to a better time, some could say.
I mean, it's a time that never existed, Jim. So how could it be a goddamn throwback?
I don't know, Brian. Maybe back in like the fucking farmers era of the 1800s, you just die by 30. But besides that, everything else seems like it was pretty great. Besides pestilence in the Civil War, but And if you didn't live in the South as a black person, but there's caveats to this.
There's truly not many nice games. I guess shit. If you're gonna go anything, go with The Sims. Life is super simple.
That's a good
You
one.
work out for 5 minutes, you're ripped. You go to work
Just like me.
4 days in a row, and you get a crazy raise, and you become like the manager. Like everything is what we live, but just expedite it. And if you get really pissed off, you can. If people come and bug you, you can wall them into an area until they die. Like, I mean, there's a simplicity in that game. I was gonna say there's not. I actually thought about this as a topic for you and I didn't know how to approach it, but like, it was really more of a which is worse. Like, what would you rather live in a world like
Doom or Fallout.
like yeah, basically like a Fallout world or plug in any other post-apocalyptic crazy ass shitty world. Like most video games worlds are not good, but yeah, you went Animal Crossing, so. I hate you for that.
If only there was a very popular game just like it that you could pull from. That's an easy answer.
I know there is, and I'm not saying it. So.
All right. It's actually two of them.
I'll stick with my Sims.
All right, that's a good answer though. Yeah,
That's a great question, though. That's yeah. Most video game worlds though are shit I would not want to live in.
Yep. Or maybe I should go back to my first answer, Strip Fighter. Because man, that'd be a great world to be in.
Damn it, Jim. Well, I don't know. Maybe I do want to go and Fallout because I have so many goddamn bottle caps. I'd be rich as shit.
Yeah, right.
Because of all the beer I've been saving.
Bri, be a post-apocalyptic 1%er.
Damn it. Jim, you'd be like a centaur.
Rawr.
Damn it.
But no, those were great questions. So once again, thank you everyone. And for anyone new to the podcast, and for some reason if you missed the intro to this part, $2 a month. You can ask a question that we will answer on each of these episodes. Buy a t-shirt. Link below.
Thank you guys. Can't say it enough. We appreciate it. All right, so moving right along, Jim has 2 articles. This is a bit of a follow-up. I would say it's easily a year ago we've been talking about this.
I think it's been longer, dude. This is one of those ones that we've been following almost since the podcast started.
Yeah. So to sum it up, Stone Brewing Company was suing Miller Coors for their Keystone, the relabeling, rebranding of their beer because they were making the they were basically saying that the Keystone beers were trying to create confusion with the Stone Brewing label because the key is a little bit smaller, Stone is across the whole can, so people wouldn't know the difference between a Keystone and a Stone. Jim and I, our takes were, that seems pretty goddamn ridiculous because anyone who's a craft beer person, you're certainly not going to get confused. If you're a regular beer person and you're buying Keystones, if anything, you're probably pissed off because your Keystone now looks a little different. But either way, they said years ago, like Jim mentioned, that this is an issue. We're suing them for this. And Jim, what have been the developments? Because we have the 2 links below, but why don't you lay out what has happened?
Okay, so it's been a little bit since we followed up on this. So the first follow-up was about November of 2019, and they had done some initial discoveries, and at that point, the court found that Miller didn't supply enough backing information, just in general. So they ruled that Miller had to pay out Stone Brewing's legal fees up until that point, which came out to over $400,000, which for Miller is probably not, a lot. $420,476 and 63 cents. The 63 cents is the killer in legal fees. So, and also Stone is allowed to update its expert reports to include the additional evidence. So, yeah, that's a pretty big blow to Miller Coors right there.
It sure is. And after reading through some of this as we're going, one of the things Stone Brewing is seeking is to recover $1 billion in infringing sales. Here's the one thing I have a big issue with. Stone, you're not a microbrewery if you're talking about $1 billion.
You're number 6 in the country.
Yeah, like you're right there with Miller Coors. You're right there with all the macros.
They're not. No, let's be fair to them. Even though I hate them, let's be fair to them. They're not at that ridiculous level of them. I know. Trust me, $1 billion's ridiculous, and they're shooting for the moon with that fucking number. Don't get me wrong, but they're not at that level. Like the top 3, like Miller Coors, Budweiser.
Yeah, of course, yes. I'm not. But what I'm saying is, if Miller Coors, Anheuser-Busch, all those are in their own 0.01%, Stone is easily and comfortably in the 1%.
Oh yeah, for microbrewers, quote unquote microbrewers, they're easily into 1%, like you said. Like they're a couple steps below Sam Adams, which eventually got bought by some big name one, I forget what, but yeah, like they're still in that upper echelon. I'll give you that one.
And I mean, Stone's been around since 96.
Yeah.
It's funny because they're painting it like the David versus Goliath, which
they're pointing it like they're the little guy down the street, like working out.
Exactly. That's what's pissing me off. I'm like, you guys are making pretty goddamn good, and if you're and that's what I love. It's the way it's worded. If you're saying 1 billion in infringing sales, that's suggesting that that's just how much it's impacted you, to the ability to sell because of this name. So what are you making on top of that? A fucking billion for a beer company? Like, are you kidding me? Do you think Yuengling, like even Yuengling's the oldest goddamn brewery, I don't know what they rank, but $1 billion? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, like, that's great. And here's the thing, like if you have the money even to this point to have a 2-year lawsuit against Miller fucking Coors.
Yeah. $400K, like you said.
You're not the little guy. I'm actually surprised it's only $400K, but you are not the little guy at this point. You're little compared to them, but you are not the little guy in the grand scheme of things.
So, like Jim said, that they've agreed to that Miller Coors has to pay for the legal fees. But the other link that's below is basically
more recent from March.
This shit is actually going to court. Which,
yep.
The only thing I said to Jim is what I could imagine is some jackass in their marketing department for Keystone, because you gotta figure Miller Coors, they cover so much beer.
Yeah,
like everyone hears the name and you think of the main. Like Keystone is just one of the little offshoots. So some jackass. It is maybe probable that was his marketing strategy.
Probably.
I still don't see it, because here's the deal. Jim, as someone who is an avid Keystone Light drinker.
It's true.
Could you agree with my assessment that like it was kind of weird that they changed the cans?
A little bit. I mean, it seemed unnecessary, but I was like,
weird
branding, whatever.
Yeah, but here's the deal. Anytime you've gone into a beer store, and we're from PA, so I don't know what it's like for the rest of the country. Have you notice Keystone is always with Miller Lite, Coors Light, it's never even close to the craft
It's
beer section.
it's not in the same fucking aisle. It's not on the
Not
same.
even
It's not on the
close.
same. It's not even on the same shelf in the make your own 6-pack aisles. Like there is, you have to be an idiot to have any kind of comparison between the two for any frame of reference where you'd be like, oh well, this is obviously trying to rip this off. Like it just
like if you're a
there's
Stone
no
Brewing
way.
Company fan, or fuck it,
No,
if
no,
you're
no,
a
no, Brian,
craft beer
sorry,
fan,
Brian, sorry to interrupt you real quick.
yeah,
Here's a better way to put it. You have to look in a beer store for Keystone. Miller, Coors, Bud, for the macro shit, that'll be out front and center.
yeah.
Fucking, you gotta go down like a back aisle to get to your Genesees and your Natties and your fucking Keystones and shit like that. You can
Yes.
find Stone Brewing front and center of the craft beer section. Like, they are in two completely separate worlds.
And once again, who knows? Maybe Jim and I are ignorant to the way that the rest of the country puts out their beer.
Yeah, fuck them.
Maybe they do a weird alphabetical system and they ignore the key and they put Stone next to Stone. I don't know. I can only speculate on what we see, and it's such a flimsy argument that seeing Stone on the can is at all confusing. Because here's the other deal. Everywhere that Stone Brewing is served, like say you were at a tap house, they're not even gonna serve Keystone. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Like to me, it's a flimsy argument.
Dude,
It's
most
amazing to
bars
me.
don't. You'll probably get served more Stone Brewing in a bar across the country than you will Keystone. Keystones aren't stocked at fucking bars.
At all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keystone is the bottom of the brewing barrels of fucking Coors Light. You're gonna have Coors Light. You're not gonna have fucking Keystone at a bar.
So I could even accept if the lawsuit.
Keystone's
Like
the
I
little
said-
guy here. God damn it.
Well, Keystone, truly, the sales of strictly Keystone are probably so substantially smaller than Stone Brewing, but because it's under the umbrella of Miller Coors, which is
Yeah.
one of, if not the biggest, the second biggest behind Anheuser. I mean, it's one of those situations where I'm not sympathizing for Miller Coors, but what I am saying is this is a flimsy ass argument, and if somehow it gets approved, I'm kind of just like, yeah, man, I don't know what your payout's going to be, Stone, but like, don't think of yourself as a little guy. Like, don't come out of this trying to have a moral high ground. Like, this fucking ace fell in your lap, and if you somehow walk away with extra money from it, you truly didn't lose business. You truly didn't lose anything. And as Jim and I said, we saw what that head brewer wrote about. Dude seems like a fucking uptight, over-righteous dick.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
So from the court document, it says, while the defendant has provided some evidence that the word Stone has been used in craft brewery names, as well as it being an old-style beer brewing technique, the court is unable to see a commonly understood connection between the mark and the product. Furthermore, plaintiff also offers evidence that it sold its products nationally. Nevertheless, viewing such evidence in the light most favorable to the defendant, a finder of fact could reasonably conclude that plaintiff's marks are commercially weak.
Exactly. And I would.
So they're still
I've
going
never-
for it, but they're going, it's kind of a weak case here, guys, but we'll still do it.
I've never wanted to be a part of a jury in my life, and I don't even know if it will be a jury. It might just be a judge. But either way, that's yeah. I think we said in the past we were going to follow up. So Jim, you did a great job with this for
Yeah.
following up and finding it. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen here, but that's fascinating. So
All right.
yeah, let us know below. Actually, last time we talked about this, we had legit lawyers commenting on it.
Yeah, we
on
did.
the legal standing. So if you're still listening to us after all these years, please comment below what you think.
Oh, this will be a subject of my write-up for the show, so.
Yeah. All right. So next one.
Brian, before we do that, I got to
Yeah. All right, Jim. So before we move on to our next topic, what do you think of your beer so far?
All right, the Hanalei Island IPA. It's good. I didn't get the passion fruit or the orange, maybe a little bit of the orange or the guava. It had a nice kind of thickish mouthfeel to it, especially on the back of the throat. Very drinkable because 4.5%. What? Is it because it's the same thing I say every time? Yes, I know.
Well, but it's just, you can't be like, oh, it's thickish in my mouth and it's the back of my throat. Like, come on. Let's use different vocabs. Come on. All right. Just, come on. You're killing me here, Smalls.
I'm sorry. I'm not the beer expert. I'm not the beer expert between the two of us.
I'm not. Just evaluate what I just said. You're killing me and not wanting to say that's what she said or anything like that.
Yeah, I know. But no, like, it's a very solid Island IPA. It's nice. It's very fresh. Like, it's not refreshing, but for like a nice fruity-ish taste in your mouth without being overpowering, it's a good one to go with. Perfectly fine, and the low alcohol content makes it very approachable. I'll leave it there. Now, sorry.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, the next one I'm going with, the Evo Double IPA, you'll see it on the clip when I started pouring it and took my first drink. I literally went, wow. Like, I can't pinpoint the special flavor that's in it, because it's not just a straight-up IPA. There's something in there, and I haven't pinpointed it yet. But there's a flavor in there, especially on the tongue, and it goes through like the entire experience that I'm just going, fuck, what is this? But it's delicious. Like, this is a surprisingly good beer. If you can, I'll say right now, if you can find the Evo Double IPA in whatever store that you have near you, definitely pick up at least one of these bad boys because it is delicious. It sets itself apart from normal double IPAs. Like, there's something there. I just can't find it. I want to find it. I can't find it right now, but it's just goddamn good.
All right, so I've just finished my Havoc Mead, Root of All Evil. I said I love ginger, but goddamn, after one whole beer of that, Jim, have you ever had pure ginger?
Yes, it
right,
is.
So,
oof. Even pure ginger beer, just straight ginger beer, not mixed in with something, astringent. It's very astringent.
That's a good word for it because it's not spicy. It's
vocabulary.
Like, yeah, that was a good pull from you. So I just finished it, and it was like, dude, like my whole mouth still bites with that astringent. Like, it's fucking me up. And I liked it at first, but a whole can of it, nah. Like, I'm not the biggest fan. Now the next one, I've already taken a sip, and I've already had one. The Hop Swarm. Like I said, it's like basically it's literally still water, honey, hops, and that's it. So it gives mead a different flavor. And hops, when they get overused in IPAs, when they taste like pine, I'm not the biggest fan. Or I'm fine with it, but not enough stand out. This is a really nice balanced beer, or mead, I should say. The ginger one, you could probably avoid. Havoc, if for some reason you're listening, I'm sorry to say that. You make some delicious shit, but the ginger, goddamn. Like, you know, you eat ginger in between eating your sushi because it cleanses your palate. My palate is fucking clean for a year after the amount of ginger I feel like I just ate. So
damn.
And they add lemon juice on top of that. So it's like, yeah, my mouth is feeling weird shit. But either way, what I wanted to do, we're not giving a full rundown. I was asking Jim, I said, a couple years ago, I think it was 2016, 2018, whatever it is, we went through our full list of favorite games. And our intention was, at the end of every year, we were going to do it. The thing is, we realized that takes an entire episode. It's probably not the best for you guys. It's not the best for us, because a lot of the games, I would hope, are going to stay. But since making that list and going off the top of our heads, have you played games, whether they're retro or new, that you would honestly consider adding in? And what was that, the top 20 games?
Yeah, our
right?
top 20 ever.
Are there any games you've played since making that list that you think, okay, I'd probably throw into the list nowadays? Like I said, it doesn't have to be a super long conversation, but something I was just kind of, especially because I've been talking a lot about some games I would consider for me. I wanted to see what you thought.
Yeah, what do you call it? Because we only did our 2016 lists, like, as a video. We have our 2017s written down.
Yeah.
I would say Rocket League would probably go in there. It would probably be in the low part of the 20s. fuck. What else would I say?
Would you put
I
Streets of Rage 4?
I don't know if I would put that in there as a top 20 yet, because top 20 has a ton of nostalgia on top of just being great games. But that is a really I've been loving my time with that game.
Did you have
man.
Doom, the new Doom in your original list?
Yeah, I believe I did. Yes, I did. I had it at 18.
Okay.
I don't know at this point if it would stay. It might, but it would still be towards the bottom. I don't.
I'm
You know what?
trying to think of
I don't
games
think.
you
I don't
played
think.
that-
I don't think Ocarina would stay in there. Like it had a huge impact, but I don't know if I would still keep it in there at this point.
What about what would you do? Like, so obviously Call of Duty's
Like I'd almost like throw Musha in there because like the last like 2 to 3 years I really got into shooters and I'm terrible at them. But so far Musha has consistently been my favorite one. It's either that or Blazing Lasers, but I would go with Musha over that. So that would
what
probably
the fuck is Musha?
So vertical scrolling shoot 'em up.
God, what does it? In the simplest non-gym terms, so simple and brevity, what does it possibly offer that every other vertical shooter doesn't?
You know what? I'll give it this. Not that much, but it just does it nearly perfectly. Beautiful graphics, especially for its time. Amazing music. Almost perfect gameplay, but without being overly ridiculously hard like all those stupid bullet hell ones are that are just hard for the sake of being hard. So it's like that nice mishmash put all together for just being like a really great shooter. And I tend to like vertical shooters more than horizontal ones, so that's why I'll get that nod. But I'm talking that'll be like a 20 or a 19.
Okay. But what about like, so you and I, since that we've reviewed a lot of retro games, and
Yeah.
you've played a lot that you didn't play as a kid. There's none of them that have snuck in like any of the Castlevanias, any of Metroids,
You know
any
what?
of that Mega Man's,
shit.
like none of that, or even Gunstar Heroes, like none of that has snuck in for you.
I don't know if Gunstar would sneak in. I think a Castlevania might. Like it
Which
would be
one?
it would be low. Ah, fuck. I might go Rondo. Like I know,
Really?
yeah, I like Rondo a lot, man. Like both the original and the PSP remake of it. Like I know 4 is the popular answer, but I don't know something about Rondo, man. Like,
Well,
and I know,
3,
I know,
I
I
feel
know.
like no, Symphony is always the top.
Here's the
Then
problem:
it's-
3 has the limited continues, so that makes it way harder than the infinite continue ones that all the other ones basically have. So that like that barrier to entry there, like don't get me wrong, 3's amazing. 3 is amazing music for the graphics on the NES, fucking fantastic, amazing gameplay. It's just a little too hard for its own good, at least for me.
Okay, but and 4, I know you just don't have a lot of experience. But seriously, Rondo, you can't even say Bloodline because you're so boner horrific for.
No, don't get me wrong, I like Bloodlines a lot, and all of these. Like I only got into Castlevania the last 2 or 3 years, but Rondo, for whatever reason, seems to be the one that I like. I keep coming back to the most.
That's very interesting.
And I know you've never been like super crazy about Rondo. You've played a little bit.
You know what it is? Rondo is, for me personally, it's a step down because the control goes downhill from what you can do in 4 to Rondo. Like Rondo goes back to the original style.
Right.
Graphically, it's debatable if it's better than 4, but it's different and it's a fine game. It's kind of like Bloodlines. Like you can debate left and right.
That whole generation is very interesting because you have 3 like totally different games that are like all amazing, but are all so different in their own way.
And ultimately, and I truly am not trying to copy what AVGN said, but like what made 4 great for me was I was always someone who like I couldn't understand why you couldn't whip when you jump, why you couldn't whip diagonally up or diagonally down, like. And 4 allowed you to do all that. And like I said,
Right.
4, what really sold me on it was as you finish the game, you get the soundtrack from all the previous Castlevanias. That was never done from another Castlevania. Like I said, Symphony of the Night, you sure get a lot of game for your money, but that was a little too much for me. I never like was sold on that. Rondo looked pretty cool, but it went back to like you had Richter with the weird slide.
It's way more stiff. It's way more stiff. Yeah.
It's very stiff. And then Bloodlines I really liked, but you know, the guy you want to play as, if you want to go with the whip, he sucks compared to the dude with the spear. So it's
like Eric Lecard is like easy mode. So I like Bloodlines gives you like Bloodlines is the most approach. Well, I don't know because like 4 is way easier than most of the old really stiff Castlevanias, but it's still in that style.
Whereas, here's the deal: 4 controls the best, but 4 towards the end gets it. It's to me that's really nutty. Now, 3 is probably still the hardest of any Castlevania. Period.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
But like 4 starts as like, oh, I can do this, and then as you go on, you realize like, oh, it really truly becomes the difficulty is just about the game versus bullshit control, bullshit not being able to hit in a certain direction, like, which is what the other games suffer from. Like all of them, they suffer from the ability of not being able to hit in certain directions, so it's harder because of that. Whereas 4 is just like that last Dracula. Oh my god, that's still like I've done it twice, and I still like I remember so much time trying to get through it, but I loved it every single time. Whereas Rondo, I was always it's fine, but I don't know. Rondo's that weird in between Symphony of the Night and 4, and Bloodlines was kind of its own thing.
Well, Rondo's the in between 4 and 3. Like it's not as hard and unforgiving as 3, but it's also not as better. It doesn't have the control of 4, so it's that weird in between there. Yeah.
No, I hear you. Like I said, I was just curious for you, but like, so, but other than Castlevania, there's been no other retro games that have like really,
you I really liked Gunstar, but like after I got done it, I was like, okay, I played that. You know what? Oh fuck, did I put any of these on the old list? Give me a second here. Let me double check.
I have the old list open.
I have it open right now too. You know what? I didn't put on there. I'll probably sneak one of the Splatterhouse games on there. Probably the first one, but
you had Splatterhouse
on 2016,
2017.
Yeah, I didn't have it on my 2016 though, so that's the one we made the video on. Yep. Yeah, I don't think I would have it as high as I did on my 2017 like idea list, but it would be probably in the bottom 5, but it would definitely make its way on there.
You wouldn't even put 2 over, even though 2. I mean, 2
Two's
is
better.
definitely
Two's better
than 1. 1 is just it's the original.
Yeah, like 2 is definitely better. Like I will never take that away from it. But I just like 1 more.
Understood. No, I can agree with that. Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything else you would add to your list, or I mean, what about games like you and I talk all the time? And I'm not busting your balls.
Here we go.
But like Tetris, you're not good at, but you play all the time.
Yeah, I'm like that. That's one that I'm like, I would probably have no problem making Tetris 99 like 20. Like I'm not as good as you.
Get rid of Yu-Gi.
I might keep Yu-Gi-Oh on there. I don't know. I could like.
So you said you're gonna potentially get rid of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Zelda would go. Fuck.
Would you keep Legendary Axe too?
I might get rid of Legendary Axe and keep Splatterhouse. I think that's what I did in my 2017 list, and I might keep it for now. I think Splatterhouse might be, as far as platformers go, like my go-to turbo game.
Jim, can I just point out one of the most egregious, and for those of you, you're not following along, but just listen to what I'm saying. So we made the list in 2016, and in 1 year to 2017, Jim had his whole list. Nowhere on his 2016 list was this game. And then by 2017, his number 3 favorite game of all time is River Raid.
Oh, I forgot. Because it had been a while. But then in between that year, I forgot how much I love that game.
But number 3, Jim.
Number 3 is a little extreme. I'll give you that.
That's all I want to hear you say. Because
it would make its way on there. It would make its way on there, but it wouldn't be that high.
Because originally you had StarCraft 2, and you bumped that down to number
6.
6 or
5
7.
or 6.
You know, like,
5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm like, God damn, River Raid? Like, I don't care if you have nostalgia and you enjoy the game, but man, you shit all over StarCraft. Like, you demoted that under all this other shit you had it previously ahead.
2016 was like the height. 2015, 16 was the height of my StarCraft 2 playing too, so that had a factor in. But no, StarCraft would still be on the list, StarCraft 2, but River Raid would still be there, but it would not be that high. I'll give you that.
Okay.
What about you? What would you sneak and shuffle?
Yeah. Oh no, my shit. So for one,
I don't change anything because I like what I like.
No, I would not have. So from 2016, I had GTA 5, and even by 2017, I had it blank because I couldn't figure out what I wanted.
Wow, you had GTA 5 and 9 too, or no? Yeah, 9. Fuck.
I wouldn't have GTA 5 on my list at all. It's a great game. But honestly, for nostalgia and when I think back to games, if I had a GTA, which I don't, I would probably do Vice City because that's the one I loved the most as a kid.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Honestly, games I would definitely add Resident Evil 2 Remake. I don't know where, but that is such a goddamn great horror game. It's debatably the best horror game of this generation. I'm putting that somewhere on here. I would probably get rid of Injustice 2 as a fighting game because I already have. It's the same engine as Mortal Kombat, and I have MK10. Yeah, I would probably also add in Hellblade somewhere on this list. I don't know what I'm bumping off yet because there's a few blank spaces for me, but I'm throwing Hellblade on there. Other than that, like Call of Duty's, like I think my favorites I had is World at War and Black Ops 2.
Yeah.
Thinking back, they're still they're pretty tied for me. I don't know which one to put. None of the new ones would really do it for me as far as favorite. Fallout 4 is still one of my favorites. I'm trying to think of other new games that really sold me. And I can't right now. I mean, like I said, Hellblade, Resident Evil 2 Remake. I'm not putting Resident Evil 3 Remake as my favorite. I put it in 2017. I might put Cuphead somewhere. Because as far as a tough-ass, fun platformer, you're not finding a better game. Like, for a unique animation style, music, and just how goddamn difficult it was, but you get such a sense of accomplishment when you actually beat it. You never even beat that game, right, Jim?
Nope.
Dude, that game is still one of the hardest platformers.
Oh, dude, I know it was ridiculous.
So that game's probably somewhere. But yeah, other than that, I don't know if I'm making too many adjustments. Those are probably my biggest additions. And like I said, if you can click the link below, you can see our full list from 2016. I just want to throw it out there because we've played many, many, many games since then.
Briar, you said I'm not putting Hotel Mario on there somewhere?
Jim, if you did, it would be just... Your list would become complete shenanigans. If you put that or any bullshit from the CDI, I don't care what you love about games.
No, CDI would not make it. Street Fighter 2, though, for the titties.
That would be... You know what? That would even be more acceptable, Jim. Son of a bitch. No, I was fully expecting you, though. Tetris 99 or some bullshit indie shooter from the Switch. And
no, I mean, I like a lot of the indie games, but I would never put any of them as, a favorite of all time.
Okay. Well, like I said, you are a flippy-floppy. As we learned from one year to the next, you change your number 3 pick to fucking River Raid. That's just so
Great
disturbing.
Game. Great game. God tier.
Not a 3 level, as you just admitted, so.
Fair.
And I'm already better than you at it, so we already established that. Good. Give the grumpy cat face.
Already did. Already did as you were saying it.
All right. So the next one, it's another really simple topic. It's a quick one for me. Oh, how do I put this? Video game movies in terms of. Oh, fuck. I'm trying to think how to say this. We may have to go through other topics because I had it lined up really nice and I can't remember it for the life of me, which is very atypical. I wish I would have wrote more, but there was a very specific point I wanted to get to with you. So first, let's go over some reoccurring bits. So Jim, jump into it.
All right. So since Bry can't write cliff notes for himself, which is better? And for once we're keeping his beer related. We don't do that enough. Drinking while grilling or drinking in a pool?
So I saw you write this, and right away.
Summer theme, baby.
No, it's a great summer theme. 4th of July just ended, so hopefully most of you experienced one or the other. And we're not sticking to beer. If you want to drink something else, if you want to drink margaritas, if you want to drink whatever. I don't know. I was thinking about. So I just did both of these over the weekend. Here's the deal. Drinking while grilling is necessary because you're the one working. If you're the person grilling,
shit gets hot
for a bunch of people. Like, there's nothing more refreshing than, like, you close the grill, you sit back, you enjoy your beer, and you just, like, the other nice thing is when you're grilling, it's understood, your girlfriend, your significant other, whoever, they got to go get you more drinks. Like, you got to, yes, bang maid. They got to go get you, like, you're the one, you're cooking. So you're not supposed to be moving from that spot. So it's fully be like, yo, can you go get me a beer? No matter what the situation. Now, Jim, he'd probably get in trouble and have to go get himself a beer. But ultimately.
No, my wife is very good. She'll bring me out drinks as I grill.
But you barely grow, and I've seen your growing, and it needs some work.
It's expert. But top tier.
Jim. We should be honest to our fans.
Top tier. God tier.
You're not top tier. You're like,
invite me over.
There's a hot dog.
Invite me over. You won't be disappointed.
But drinking in a pool, here's the deal. There's nothing more relaxing than sitting in a pool and drinking. But I always found drinking in a pool not as fun because, one, if you put your drinks somewhere on the side, there's a high chance that someone's going to jump in, splash some water into it. It could get knocked over. And it kind of always becomes a tether to, like, you have to go over and re-drink it. It's probably going to get warm in the sun. Whereas if you're drinking while grilling, there's nothing like a cold, especially for us, a cold beer while you're drinking. Nothing feels better. Ultimately, with the drinking in the pool, it's going to get subdued. It's going to get cooled down. It's going to get warm. And there's nothing kind of yuckier or, like, nastier. Now, if you're in Cancun and you're drinking Long Island's like we were when we went for senior week, and it's like
$700 in fucking goddamn Long Island's.
Yeah, I mean, we were just drunk. It's all contextual to where you're at with your life and what's going on in that situation. But I think just for the pure relief and whatever, I think drinking while grilling is better because you need it more. When you're in the pool, you're already pretty goddamn relaxed. It is nice to drink while in the pool, but you ultimately water down, fuck up the temperature, whatever you want to call it. You mess up your drink while you're in the pool. So I'll go with drinking while grilling because you need it more.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what you got to go with. Here's where it boils down to. Drinking in the pool adds some stress to your pool experience, whereas drinking while you're grilling takes away some stress from your experience. So that it is the right answer. Now, if you have a nice, good, big old floaty in there, you're just chilling in there with the legs spread out and you have the little koozie right next to you that holds your beer. It's fun, but there's always the factor of other people, and you can't trust those motherfuckers. So Bryce spelled it out very well. So yeah, you got to go with while grilling.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of people could right away think, like, there's nothing better than relaxing in a pool with a drink.
Oh, dude, if there's no one else around and, like, you can just control your own destiny, then yeah, it's fucking great.
Yep. It's one of those deals, it's a better idea than when you actually execute it.
Yes, very much so.
But yeah, no. Like I said, I would be curious if someone tries to argue. And if somebody does try to argue, chances are there's someone that they never had to man a grill for a big party while you're doing that. And
There's people out there who don't like the grill. There's people out there who don't like the pressure to do it. So, I get it.
They're called commies, Jim.
Goddamn right. Not on this goddamn 4th of July that celebrates our independence from those goddamn redcoats. The least we can do is man a goddamn grill.
And just from this weekend, like going in the pool and stuff, I am so fucking sunburned. And dude, I never realized you and I had some gnarly sunburn in Cancun.
Oh, you mean when your shoulder fell off?
When fucking somebody jumped on my shoulders and ripped the skin off me? Yeah.
Yep.
I still have the scars.
Yep.
I never put two and two together. Did you ever, like, you know how all those memes are out there? It's like, how old were you when you realized blah?
Right, yeah.
Like, there's a million of them for things.
Yeah, it's every
and
fucking
a lot of
day.
them, I'll admit, I look at them like, well, shit, I didn't know that till I looked at this. I didn't realize that, like, getting sunburn makes you exhausted. Like, I know I would go to the beach or I would go do something if I'm in the sun all day. I would naturally want to take a nap in the middle of the day. But, like, I, like, research, I'm like, oh, sunburn actually makes you exhausted because it raises your body temperature, makes everything in your body work harder. It dehydrates you, all this stuff. So I got bad sunburn, and I was like, babe, I was like, dude, I need a nap. I was like, I'm going to sleep. I woke up, and I just felt exhausted. I was like, dude, why do I feel so tired?
Yep.
Yeah.
I had that last weekend, too. We had my brother, his wife, and kids came over, and I did a little bit of grilling. And after they left, and it was only like 3, 4 in the afternoon, I just passed out on the couch for about 45 minutes. Like, I just needed it.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's one of those things. It's like you take a lot for granted what you think you're like, it's just part of it. But I never actually sat and thought, like, why do I get so tired after this? So, let us know what you guys think below if you had experience drinking while grilling or in the pool. So,
yep. Vitamin D is a mean mistress, we can say.
It's good for COVID, I'll say that.
Yep, true. All right, and possibly the last topic for tonight, unless Brian remembers what he wanted to fucking say about video game movies.
I did remember, and I wrote it in there, so we'll do it after this topic.
All right, overrated, underrated. Let's go with one of the most controversial topics in all of gaming, especially North America. GameStop.
It is, unfortunately, the shadow of what it's become, which is basically a Funko Pop and toy store. It still has a lot of used games. It is highly underrated. If you want a place across the country to go buy video games, there's, for me personally, I can think of 2 other true video game shops that aren't Best Buy, that aren't Walmart, that aren't whatever, that sell video games. And I'm not even counting like Goodwill and shit. Like, if I want to go buy a video game, GameStop is where I need to go. Love it or hate it, yeah, their trade-in values are dog shit, but I've never traded in a game expecting good value, and I don't really trade in games anyway. I've gotten so many games behind me on their discounted shelf or for sale shelf that is one of the last good marks for a true game collector. The mom and pop shops, I love to support local, but goddamn if I haven't been over a barrel spending money in those places for games that I know aren't worth the value, that I could easily eBay or whatever. But then I gotta pay for shipping, and when it all gets washed out, I might save $2 by going to the mom and pop next to me. It's all well and good, but you might hate corporate America, you might hate this and that, but if I wanted to go get a video game, pre-order video games, and as Jim and I have said, we've done a ton of, for the past 8 years, done midnight releases for Call of Duties at GameStops. There's no way it's not underrated for me. And I know we've talked about a lot of their shops closing and this and that, that would really suck. And I think it would suck for a lot of people if that's truly the case. And it's really going to be the death of physical media for video games. If GameStop closes, that would really suck. So it's underrated. I hope they stay afloat. And I don't get why people give them so much shit.
Yeah, I mean, they give them a lot of shit for... There's a lot of legitimate reasons. Like, for a lot of games, it really depends on the system too, but like especially the DS and then the 3DS, like they take the games and the box and the manual and they just throw them out and they throw the game itself in like this little display unit and shit like that for ease and saving space. And their trade-in values are absolute garbage. And if you buy retro from their online store, there's a good chance you're going to get a counterfeit because their QA isn't really there and shit like that. But, dude, I gotta... And, you know, they always try to hawk their subscriptions and their protection plans and pre-orders and blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. The same... And, you know, they have the pressure from management about selling a certain amount of magazine subscriptions and all this shit. There's a lot of problems. But here's the thing with it. Like 99% of people... GameStop is awful for the people who work there. And I'm not excusing it. Don't get me wrong. I am not excusing that. But I am an end user of the product. And I don't really... It doesn't really affect me. And to your point, which was a great one, if you want to go and collect last-gen stuff, GameStop is the fucking place to go because they just try to dump it. Like every week or every other week, they'll have a buy two, get two for under $10. Or buy two, get one for this amount. Or, like, they always have deals just to get rid of last-gen shit. And GameStop really, like any mom and pop, too, only makes the bulk of their money off used game sales. So, because they're a chain and national like that, your best chance of making a killing off that will be from them. Like, I like mom and pops. They have a better selection of old retro shit. But, dude, if you fucking... All the ones, at least around me in the... lower Bucks, upper Philadelphia area, when you go to them, if there's a game that people want with a name to it, they charge double what you could find on eBay. Like, they fucking milk people. You could get lucky with an unknown game that they never update their price for. You could get lucky with that. But...
And Jim, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Yeah.
Is it just me, or... Is it also like some of those at least most of mom and pop, because obviously we live close to each other.
Right. We've been to the same ones. Yeah.
Is it not me, or do a lot of the mom and pop people who work there, they kind of cop an attitude if you ask them any question? Like, they're not friendly folks.
No, I know what you're talking about. I'll give you this. For the most part, with these mom and pops, the owner will work the register a lot. So they'll be the one that you have to go to, and they'll be the ones who will cop an attitude, or they'll be the ones where, while you're checking out, they're the ones checking on the most recent eBay sales and prices and shit like that. And they'll like huff and puff if they got raped on a game, basically. The people who work under them, they don't care. They'll be the ones who are more approachable, and they'll be like, oh, man, you got a good deal on this one, shit like that. Like, they don't give a fuck. They're just there for a paycheck. The owners, like, I get it, at the end of the day, they're the ones with all the responsibility and shit like that. But I've never been to a mom and pop where the owner hasn't been a dick. At least in our area. I know different areas, different experiences, whatever. In our area, they're the gougers. They're the ones who are trying to... They don't care about the seller. Which, I get it. It's not their job. But you also don't have to sell Ocarina of Time in a box for $150 either. So, it's hard for me to feel bad for you if your store doesn't do well when you're being a dick with the games that people will buy. So that's where it comes back to GameStop, where it's got a ton of problems, but I mean, it's the only place you can go to right now besides the mom and pops where you can just browse games and get deals on less gen shit. Like if you have holes in your 360 and PS3 collection, especially Wii U, fucking buy up Wii and Wii U right now before that skyrockets, because it will. And like the games with the name, they will put a fair price on somewhat, but you'll still be paying less than you will in 4 years from now when they're not available anywhere else except for eBay. So do that shit right now. Like, I don't know. It has its place. It has a ton of problems, but it has a place. And I think it gets a ton of shit, but I also think people expect a whole lot. And I don't know if they're expecting a mom and pop shop that's trying to survive to care about you, or a Best Buy, Target to care about you, because their argument is that GameStop doesn't care about you, and they don't. But no one else does either. But no one else does either. They're all after the almighty dollar. So I don't know.
And here's the other deal: have you ever gone to a mom and pop shop where you do have unique finds? Like you said, you find retro finds. You're never gonna find the retro shit you want in GameStop, which is
never.
not the point of it.
Yeah.
But have you ever gone into a mom and pop shop and it was perfectly organized?
No, here's my fucking problem with a lot of the ones around us. Some are better than others, but like if I'm paying like basically eBay prices, but I'm paying for the convenience of walking out of the store with that game in my hand, can you at least fucking clean the game? There are so many places
Exactly.
by me where I have to fucking give it the dry eraser and the fucking treatment just to get it to work because it's fucking covered in grit. Like, if you want to charge eBay prices and throw on the convenience fee, fine. You know what? I can live with that. At least make your game clean and playable. If you don't do that, then I don't feel bad for you in the fucking slightest.
Also, how many times in that one shop that you and we did enjoy going to, but it closed down.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Like, it was literally, some of these shops feel like a step up from going to a garage sale.
Oh,
or a
you know what?
swap meet
You know what?
or whatever.
The shop you're talking about, he was, because he was a guy who also on the weekends did garage sales and shops. He was a general antique.
Which is where it got it. Yeah.
He was a general antique store, but he also had a dedicated game room. But you know the fuck what? If you went to him a lot, he remembered you, and he would give you deals if you bought in bulk. A lot of these stores don't do that.
Right
Even
there,
the mom and pops, they don't do that. So
that's the value of a true, call it mom and pop, call it what you will.
Yeah.
If you get a person that remembers you, has a certain conversation, like they're gonna have a relationship with you, that's what can make the biggest difference. But as Jim is pointing out, for us, mom and pop shops around us, you can go to them many, many times. They don't give two shits. They're not giving you a deal. The guy we went to in the shop that closed, I don't even know where he moved.
No, he moved to another antique store, but he doesn't really have the game room that he had before. I went like once or twice, and he never had the shit. I was like, man, fuck, I have no reason to be here.
But yeah, no, he would be great. Like literally, I would go there. I'd buy some games. I'd buy comics, and without me trying to bargain with him, if the shit came to like $17, he'd be like, I could do 15 for this. Like he would offer you, especially if he knew you.
Yeah.
He would offer you deals where you're like, oh, cool. Or you could just flat out tell him, dude, I got $10 cash. I was just going to get this, but I was interested in it. Like, you could try to work something out. You're not trying to rob him. You know you're going to be continuing business with him. That is a great relationship, but I feel like that's so rare for so many people. And yeah, like at the end of the day, with eBay, with Amazon, it's like getting tougher and tougher. So GameStop, it's really a solid deal. And like Jim said,
here it is. Temper your expectations. Like GameStop is not perfect, but if you use GameStop the right way, it is very useful.
Yes. I would go in there. I'd have my power-up rewards. I would do that because, well, when I purchased enough used games and new games,
right,
it made sense because I could buy shit back. Ultimately, I got brand new Call of Duties. I got a few other brand new games from there. And used games, like Jim said, I'd go out once a week. I would check the racks, see what's on sale, see what's new, see what's under $5, buy a couple at a time. It was always a good experience for me.
Yep.
You know, I don't buy toys, I don't buy Funkos, but if I did, I would enjoy it for that. But for video games, last gen, oh man, I stocked up. That's why 360 is probably one of my biggest collections as far as video game collections, was because of GameStops.
Yeah, what do you call it? Like, if you're going in there with the purpose of my biggest, I don't know, people have asked this question, I think, before, but like biggest gaming regrets, my biggest one is not tearing through the GameCube collections back in 2010 when they were dirt cheap, just to have them on my shelf, not knowing that the market would just explode the way it did. I could have made so much bank just buying all the GameCube that I could, shit like that. And it still carries over now. So it's like, hit that last gen stuff while it's cheap. Use it to your fullest, because there's still a market there.
All right, so the last topic of today, and I finally remembered it, so I was a little fucked up. But what I was considering is, I wanted to ask you, I mentioned earlier in a podcast, which is, we grew up in the 80s and 90s.
Yep.
It felt like there was a absurd amount of games that were made off of action movies. And they were shitty LJN or whatever. But even in Super NES and Genesis, like, we did the Stallone movies, or Stallone games, I should say, like Judge Dredd, Demolition Man. Like, it felt like any movie that made a mild success was turned into a video game. And it was usually from a bigger AAA video game producer. I feel like that is not happening almost at all anymore. Like, I don't see a bunch of Fast and Furious games. I don't see a bunch of Avenger games. Like, even though Marvel has its own games, and I know there's an Avenger games coming, like, I just don't see that same push of an action movie becomes good, like Jumanji. Use whatever example you want. They're just not churning out the games the way they used to. And some of the games were actually, like, as we pointed out, Judge Dredd, Demolition Man.
They were fun.
Depending on which system they were actually fun or actually pretty good. What do you think about that? Like, why do you think that actually happened? Like, why do you think they're not churning this shit out? Is there just too many other games? Are they not able to get the license? I mean, now that everything is growing together, like, video games are way more prevalent than they were in the past.
Yeah.
I doubt that the licensing was much cheaper back then. But goddamn, like, there's so many movies that I'm like always like, I'm shocked there's not a game out about this. And you and I have covered many times of games or movies we wish were turned into games.
Right.
But at this point, like, we see shit like Friday the 13th, which is going back on old licensing, and they ran issues. But brand new ones, like, why is there not a Fast and the Furious series of games? Like, for as ridiculous as those movies are. Like, is it just that video games are that much better now, and that they know those games can't compete? Like, what do you think?
I'm gonna think it was probably it wasn't an overnight thing. I just don't think the licensed games make the money that they used to off people. Like, there's way more information now about a game. Like, you can know if a game's good or not way before it even releases, as opposed to back in the day. But, like, I remember back in early 2000s, like, that Stallone movie Driver, which that's one we could go back to. That had a game on every fucking system. And from what I heard, it wasn't a bad racing game. But still, it was a movie on the Stallone movie Driver. Like, the only games that I can really remember off the top of my head that are, like, strictly movie license games or tie-ins, or, like, the really bad Thor game on the DS and 3DS. Or the really bad Iron Man game that we got you for your birthday.
Oh, sons of bitches.
Shit like that.
No,
like,
there was even a Captain America game, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there wasn't a...
Or like the Wolverine, shit like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's almost like, unless Lego threw a ton of money to have the strict licenses for all these properties, or, Lego games in general were just enough of a sure bet, like, I just don't... Maybe just the money isn't there anymore. Like, they just saw over time that, like, people aren't... Like, they're hip to the jig. They know that this game's probably not going to be good, so it's not even worth trying to do.
Well, that's what's confusing to me is... Okay, a perfect example, and of course I tie horror into it, but Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Right.
That game had so many ports for Sega CD, Genesis, Super NES. Like...
Dude, fucking the Frankenstein movie from the early 90s had a goddamn license game. Yeah.
And all those games were pretty much dog shit. And it's still really... And that movie, I don't know the box office off the top of my head, but it wasn't like gangbusters. So that game produced movies. Like, I don't know. I look at, like, a lot of games... Like,
Like Jurassic World was huge, and we didn't have a real Jurassic World game based off it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something like that. Or like I said, I pointed out
or Star Wars. Like the only real games we had based on Star Wars are either Lego or the pinball game on the Switch that came out like a year or two ago. Like it's fucking crazy that for all the money that like say what you want about the new Star Wars movies, which there's a lot you can say, but the fact that we didn't get like Jedi Power Battles style game or fucking like the Battlefield games were based on the old Star Wars movies. They weren't even based on the new ones.
Something
like it's
based
fucking
on the new
it's
one, yeah.
crazy that they didn't have that.
That's exactly my point. And I'm like, okay, I know the market is saturated with video games. And I know, like you said, maybe they realize it's a money waste, it's whatever. But there's still so much shit released from gaming that...
And a good game's a good game. Like, I know, what was it, last year? There was that Star Wars game, it wasn't a God of War clone, it was like the platformer I'm blanking on what type of game it like copied, but it was almost like Dark Souls meets Star Wars? Fuck, what the fuck was that shit called? Not Force Unleashed, but like... Yeah, like there was a Star Wars game last year that people seem to like and shit like that, but like the fact that we had one and not 30 is like crazy.
And that's where I kind of feel bad because here's the deal. We were kind of spoiled. Chances are, if you saw a movie, it was a even pretty mild success, there'd be some kind of game. The fucking Wizard of Oz has a video game on the Super NES. Like, there's so many movies from when we were kids that turned into games.
Yeah.
And granted, I guess in the overall scheme, there was a lot less movies released than there are today.
Wait, how does Disney not have movie games anymore? Like, how's there not like a Moana game or a fucking Big Hero 6 game? Big Hero 6 could easily be a video game.
Well, here's what else I realized. It's not Disney, but like I was going through Xbox Arcade or whatever when they do the cheap games.
Yeah.
And my son is obsessed with Hotel Transylvania, and there's a Hotel Transylvania 3 video game, and it was $2.
There is?
And I clicked on it, and I was like, what the fuck is this? It's a whole game based on that movie. And I was like, okay, $2. Just like when we were at Too Many Games when I bought the Monsters Inc. game. I was like,
right.
I'll buy it just because it's cheap enough, and I know eventually I'll be able to play with him and he'll like it. But
yeah, like
I tried to look after seeing that, which is what kind of inspired me for this whole topic. Was like you're saying, Big Hero 6, Moana. If there are games out there, they're so lowly publicized or whatever. Like,
dude,
like
Moana could be a Wind Waker cheap knockoff easily, but like, there's still a market there. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, obviously, Elsa was put in the God, what the hell was that big Disney?
Oh, do you think Disney Universe kind of ruined that for a whole generation of movies?
The
Skylanders clone. Yeah,
at least for Disney shit, maybe. But that's my point. Like, why haven't we even seen a Frozen or Moana Lego game? I don't know. And I'm sure there's answers to everything. Jim and I actually haven't seen any new Lego games since like the Avenger games. But I don't know. Like, I feel like we were spoiled with bigger movies got games. No matter how ridiculous, no matter what, like fucking Home Alone got games, like, and now I see these huge movies that you're like, wow, they're making all the money in the world. I remember the first time it really pissed me off was The Matrix, and I have a game.
Enter the Matrix sucked. Enter the Matrix was garbage. Everyone loved it back in the day because it was like a spinoff of The Matrix and it was huge. Enter the Matrix always sucked. I don't care what your nostalgia is.
No. I did love it because that was the only option we had for a game that made it feel like The Matrix.
Right.
And it truly was the only game that made you... So I loved it for that. But even then, I realized these controls are kind of shitty. I have it right here. And it's funny you said that because I was like, That's actually a game I have good memories of, but it's because it was the only thing that came even close. It wasn't even characters, like, you weren't even fucking Neo.
Yeah, you're
like,
Jada Pinkett Smith's character. Like, she was the main
yeah,
one.
her and the Asian dude, I forget his name.
Yeah, I forget too.
But like, you're just like that. You also, I feel like when we grew up, we just accepted a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a franchise right there. Why hasn't there been a fucking good Matrix game ever made? Like, of all the game, that is one of the most parodied movies of all time because of stop motion or the bullet time.
Yeah.
Why hasn't that been made into a better game series? Like, it's just stupid shit like that I think of, and it can't be just because it's not a moneymaker, because you're telling me some of those games that were so shittily made back in the day, which made almost no money, they still pumped out almost every year as soon as a movie was released. Like, I don't know, there's just something weird about that these... Like, a lot of them turn to mobile games. And you and I talked about that last podcast about a lot of franchises are just going, here's a mobile game, enjoy it. But on the big consoles, they're not doing it no more. This kind of sucks for, like, newer generations.
Yeah, no, I get it. We might be the only page ever that is opined that gamers don't get enough licensed games. But, yeah, it's definitely a... It's
of course.
It's a weirdly missed, like, at least maybe for us because we're old. It's just, yeah, it's weird. It's weird that you don't see these tie-ins.
Jim, actually, definitely by next podcast because it'll be a couple weeks away.
Yeah,
I'm gonna wear something I bought and it's gonna piss you off.
Probably.
I don't even know for sure if you've seen this movie. But I decided it's something we've talked about, like, you remember how we said what video game or what movies would you love to see be turned into a video games?
Uh-huh.
And what's one of the ones I've talked about many times, if you can remember?
I'll have to say
it's not horror, but it's Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, yeah.
So I bought Jack Burton, a.k.a. Kurt Russell, his tank top in that movie. I bought that on Amazon.
God damn it.
So I'll wear that for the next podcast.
Great. But yeah, only those damn Commodore lovers got their game out of that. So.
But that's what I mean. Like, it's just funny to
it's
me.
Almost weird. It's almost weird to, like, fucking Blade Runner 2049 didn't get some kind of game or, like, a Snatcher knockoff for, like, a digital store or some shit. The way the first Snatcher was a knockoff of Blade Runner. So I don't know. It's weird.
Said that, like, count in any of the Marvel Avengers movies. Count in the DC games or movies.
Pacific Rim. Did Pacific Rim have a game? I don't remember it, but it seems like a perfect game. Fucking
if
giant.
It did, it was
giant robots versus gaijins
mobile.
And shit. Like, I don't know how you don't have that fucking shit.
Here, I don't know. It just, like I said, maybe it's just an oversaturation of the market, because we've also criticized there's been a lot of shitty movies made based on games,
right?
And there's been a lot of games that you would think would be obvious targets, like all the shit that's going around for Last of Us. I'm actually amazed they haven't made a movie of that yet.
Yeah,
it just
I
don't know.
Maybe the way like Assassin's Creed bombed or shit like that. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that didn't help.
And it didn't have the China help that World of Warcraft had either.
Exactly. So it's...
Everyone cucks out to China too much these days, so it's a fine line.
At the end of the day, it's whatever makes the most dollars, Jim.
Yep.
Doesn't matter where it makes the most dollars. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's something, and maybe anyone listening or watching, let us know if we're missing some very obvious targets. But I feel like more and more these bigger movies that whether you want them or not, they're just not making video games for. Maybe it's a good thing, but it's not like there's not a lot of bullshit games being made. And as a kid, one of the best things I could experience, especially when you only had VHSs to go to, or for people that are a little bit younger, just DVDs, it would still be cool to go and be like, oh, I can go play play a game of the movie I really enjoyed going and seeing.
Oh yeah, what do you call it? Like Star Wars Clone Wars, like gave you some story notes before the game came out. Same with Jedi Starfighter. So yeah, it's a lost art.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully one day they come back and start doing that a little bit more. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. That was a thing I couldn't remember earlier. But as always, guys, Jim, before we sign off, what'd you think of the final beer you did?
The Evo Double IPA. This is a must drink. Like, it is delicious. I still, because I'm a little bit tipsy.
Wait. Who makes it? Because you fucked it up several times.
The Evolution Craft Brewing Company. The Double IPA.
Where is that from?
It is from Salisbury, Maryland.
Evolution. I've never heard of them.
Yeah, dude, I found it at Acme up the street from me. So I put it in my Create Your Own 6-pack, and it's fucking delicious. So if you want a double IPA that finds a way to set itself apart, this is one to go for. Can't pinpoint the flavor, but it does.
Hold on. We're gonna get to the bottom of this real quick.
No, I gotta go to bed.
Nope. Evo. What is it called?
The lot number 6 double IPA.
All right. I want it right now. A friend of mine tried that, rated at 3.5. They said good hop flavor, not bitter. Basically just lots of hops, not very bitter, and there's a good amount of tropical fruit and citrus notes.
I'll say, yeah, it's probably the citrus that came through, but without being overly bitter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I actually seen the beer. I've seen it, but I've never tried it. So nice. For me, the hop swarm, like you said, this is a good bridge for people who never tried mead but are craft beer fans. Excuse me. But if you don't like craft beer and you don't like hops, don't try it. It's fine. It's just a weird mixture with everything else I've had. So with that, guys, we truly appreciate everyone listening.
Brian's had a rough night, a rough couple podcasts for beer.
It's been mixing all the meads I have. It's been odd. But like I said, please, if you haven't already, just subscribe to us on YouTube, on iTunes, and if you are subscribed, please give us a rating. If you want to, give us a 5. Be sure you can bash us in the comments. That's fine. But we truly appreciate all your support.
And don't forget Stitcher and Spotify for everyone else out there.
Absolutely. And with that, guys, we want to say cheers and good night.
Cheers.